The newsday continues here on One News Now. I'm Riza Diaz. The Bureau of Quarantine is set to release yellow vaccination cards in September with OFWs and other Filipinos that need to fly abroad as the main priorities. In the Laging Handa briefing, Quarantine Bureau Director Robert Salvador Jr. noted that those who need to go abroad are losing their slots and reminded the public that the yellow card is not mandatory for all countries. He also advised everyone to check first if their destination country or airlines require the yellow card. Now, for those who will need the yellow card, they can book an appointment online through the BOQ's website. Now, after getting a slot, they can proceed to any BOQ office located in Port Area in Manila, SMOA, Batangas Station, Subic, La Union, Lawag, Cebu, or in Cagayan de Oro. Satellite stations will also be open soon in Eastwood, McKinley, SM North, General Santos, Calibo, Bacolod, Legazpi, and Palawan. They have to present their passport and vaccination card before getting their yellow card after 1 to 2 hours. Now, to tell us more on this, we have with us on the line this morning Dr. Bert Feliciano, medical officer from the Bureau of Quarantine. Dr. Bert, good morning.
Good morning, Ms. Lisa. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining us, Doc. Have we been getting Filipinos trying to get these yellow cards, even if they're not OFWs or perhaps they're not really needing to fly abroad?
Yes, we have getting a lot of those. Some of them are studying abroad, others for medical reasons. Generally, others are for personal reasons. That's why they are acquiring the yellow cards.
Dr. What are the main challenges in preparing and distributing these cards that we are encountering so far?
So, ma'am, due to the influx of the amount of people trying to book their slots per day, we're only limited in the Manila office. We are only limited to around 500 to 600 per day. At the Mall of Asia satellite office, we're only limited to around 200 per day. Due to the fact that we're limiting the number of people coming in for their protection due to the current crisis of this COVID-19, that's why we are very limited to that number. But of course, we're trying to increase that number through our satellite office and our already existing provincial stations.
Dr. You mentioned with the COVID numbers or COVID-19 infections rising in our country, one of the precautions that the Bureau is taking is, of course, limiting the number of applicants coming in to the office to get their yellow cards. Are there any other precautions and protocols that you are taking, again, in time to release these cards?
That's one of the limitations that we are having due to the program or the system that we are enforcing. That's the one that also helps us limit the number of people. But of course, we are still enforcing the minimum health standards in order for us to be able to accommodate them and safely and health-wise. We employ almost daily cleaning and disinfecting in our areas.
Doc, can you brief us on the requirements for those applying for the yellow card?
Okay. Basically, they need to go online to boq.pisopay.com.ph and they will select their preferred office where they want to acquire the yellow card, then their preferred date and time. Then they have to upload first any form of ID, more preferably their passport, and their vaccination cards. And then, of course, they have to pay online or either through other stations like 7-Eleven, uploading it and eventually waiting for the confirmation. And that's it.
Bert, can the distribution really happen by September, considering, of course, Doc, that the country still doesn't really have an existing uniform vaccination database system?
Pardon, ma'am, can you repeat that?
Considering, Doc, that one of the challenges is the country not having an existing unified database system when it comes to vaccination, a uniform system at that, are we optimistic that we can really release these cards come September?
Actually, ma'am, we have been releasing the yellow cards for probably more than 10 years, because that is a requirement for many of our seafarers, if not all seafarers, and many of our OFWs, since they require the yellow fever and the polio vaccine, or recently by 2019, it was required that polio vaccine be added to our yellow card. But now, with the event of the COVID-19, this has been added just recently. So our distribution has been there for, well, several years already. So adding this feature of COVID-19, well, the only problem is the amount that of applicants we receive per day, which is already in the millions, as compared to our distribution, which is very little. We hope that we can still be able to cope up with the number of people. But we do want to service all, especially those who are immediately leaving. But due to our limitations currently, we're starting to trying to fix that and trying to accommodate as much as we can. That's why we are going to open up our satellite offices in the coming months.
Dr. Feliciano, maraming salamat for sharing with us your time this morning. Again, that's Dr. Bert Feliciano from the Bureau of Quarantine. Meanwhile, one publicist say that vaccine confidence among Filipinos has went down to 20% from 93%. In an interview with 1PH sa Totoo Lang, Geyser Maclang Communications co-founder Amor Maclang said that vaccine confidence drastically declined as people became more scared of getting inoculated. Maclang also said that vaccination is a responsibility to each other in order to protect not only yourself but the people around you.
Kita mo nga, may mga kilala ako na nabakunahan, nagka-COVID. That's not the point. The point is, you need to be responsible na hindi ka maging transmitter or makakontra ka man, hindi ka kaagad-agad mamatay.
Maclang also appealed not to use vaccines as a political tool because this will affect the public's confidence on the jabs.
Let's stop using vaccines as a political tool. Utang na loob lang po, di ba? I mean, we're on the same boat, right? Sabi ko nga, alam niyo ho ba, unang ginamit yan nung Dengvaxia. It is used in 20 other countries except in the Philippines. But you know what got thrown out the window was not Dengvaxia, but our vaccine confidence, okay? And that's a problem.
54 areas in the country are now on alert level 4, according to Health Undersecretary Maria Rosario Vergere. In yesterday's Laging Handa briefing, Vergere said that this means that the areas have utilized more than 70% of their hospital capacity. This includes NCR, CAR, and various regions across the country. She also added that all hospitals in the country are now on alert level 2 and worse. Vergere said that they are now expanding the capacity of hospitals, even utilizing other venues to be a temporary hospital.
So sa ngayon po, meron tayong 54 areas na sa level 4 alert. Pag sinabi po nating level 4 alert, more than 70% na po ang utilization ng kanilang mga ospital. We are further expanding the capacity of our hospitals. We are now using covered courts in hospitals. We are using function halls, conference rooms. Kino-convert na ho natin yan para malagyan natin ng kama. Gumagamit po tayo ng mga modular hospitals. Gumagamit tayo ng tents.
Meanwhile, the health department remains firmly against booster shots and mix and match of vaccines, saying that there's no sufficient data yet that supports its safety and efficacy.
Wala pa hong sufficient evidence itong booster shots na ginagawa across the globe. Wala pa hong sufficient evidence to ensure that there would be safety and efficacy in this strategy. These are being considered, pero sa ngayon po, hindi pa ho natin nire-recommenda.
Tuguegarao City has confirmed a case of the COVID-19 Delta variant. Tuguegarao Mayor Jefferson Soriano said the patient was found to be positive since July 13 and has already recovered. Soriano also noted that the patient has 2 more companions in the residence who also contracted the virus but have also recovered.
Medyo problema po natin doon sa nagkaroon ng Delta variant. Noong July 13 pa siya nalaman na positive. So nakarecover na siya ngayon at kahapon inumpisa na po yung contact tracing sa yung history ng tao.
Soriano added that Tuguegarao has been experiencing a surge in cases, noting that they have had 800 transmissions from August 1st to 14 alone. With the detection of the Delta variant, Soriano mentioned that they have done the necessary measures to ensure that this will not spread among residents.
Nung nalaman po namin the other day na may Delta variant, kasalukuyan ngayon at this time po nag-umpisa na 6:30 yung barangay po natin nagdi-disinfect na po doon sa alley na yon at saka sa buong street na yon.
Now here are stories from around the world. At least 300 people were killed while hundreds are injured and missing after a 7.2 magnitude earthquake struck southwest of Haiti. The massive quake reduced churches, hotels, and homes to rubble. The tremor, which was followed by a series of aftershocks, was also felt as far as Cuba and Jamaica. Parts of Haiti has now been placed under a month-long state of emergency. The number of children hospitalized due to COVID-19 in the United States has hit a record high of 1,900. Hospitals across the South are now stretched to capacity due to the outbreaks caused by the highly infectious Delta variant. Children currently make up about 2.4% of the country's COVID-19 hospitalization, as kids under 12 are not eligible to get the vaccine. This spike, or the spike rather, in cases among children has increased tension between conservative state leaders and local districts whether to require children to wear masks in school. 2 Filipinos, meanwhile, or rather 2 Filipino Americans were assaulted in New York last week. Yesterday, stage actor Miguel Braganza, director of a Philippine Consulate General sponsored concert, was assaulted by 2 individuals while on his way to his apartment in the Upper West Side. Authorities say he was a victim of a failed robbery attempt that may have racist undertones after one of the suspects uttered anti-Asian insults against him. Now, last Tuesday, Potri Rangka Manis, a Filipino nurse, was also assaulted in a hate crime incident by 2 individuals, while she was distributing face masks on the subway. She said her assailants shouted anti-Asian slurs while attacking her. The Philippine Consulate General is now urging New York City authorities to take necessary actions to make sure that those behind these violent acts are brought to court. And those are the top stories of the hour. Join us later at 12 noon as we continue to monitor the day's biggest stories. You can also catch One News on Signal Play app. Register for a free account now, www.signalplay.com, and stream One News live anytime, anywhere. I'm Riza Diaz. Mask on, wash hands, and stay safe, Philippines. We are One News.